Hi guys, it's Joy. I need to start off by saying I apologize if I look, here it is, a little funny. I'm probably going to be doing a lot of deep breaths and drinking water throughout this. You guys know typically I don't like to do that. I'm probably not going to edit it out because honestly, I just don't have the time or energy. I am just getting over a POTS dysautonomia flare-up, a heart flare-up, and even though I feel like I'm out of it, I have to be careful, and filming these videos probably isn't the best idea, but unfortunately, not only do I have to make money when you're sick, you have to make money to keep going for your treatments, for your everything else. So I just want to let you guys know if there are jump cuts, if there's this edited a little more, if I have to take these annoying pauses for water, or if you just start randomly seeing things pop up on my desk, like chicken broth or yogurt. That's why. This is just what happens when you're chronically sick, but you still have to work. I'll give you guys an update here soon, health-wise and all of that, because I do have an update I've been meaning to do for over a week. But stuff keeps happening that I think is interesting and important enough and can help me grow my channel, so let's dive into it. And if you saw the title of this video, it is not a joke. I know, and just to kind of give you guys a heads up, first of all, always watch my videos from start to finish. A lot of times people never know how they're going to end. I'm not saying that because I'm like some super smart, calculative person, but unfortunately, unless you say negative things about Shane, the algorithm will not pick up your videos. It is not a joke. So I do a lot of sarcasm in my titles, in my thumbnails, just so you guys are aware. So even if it looks like pro this or anti that, stay. And I also do sarcasm in my videos. I'm going to have to start maybe clarifying it a bit more, or like putting music in there, because I forget sometimes I can look so serious. People don't always know. Like people close to me know. Even like roommate will be like, sometimes I can't tell, but he asks. And I'm like, oh yeah. So to me, it's like if I say something that's so outlandish or wildly out there, I'm like, surely people are going to know that it's unreal. But then this is the internet. How many times have people taken and twisted things in a million directions just to hurt other people and get attention? So again, sometimes I forget that YouTube is not real life. So sorry for the introduction, but I wanted to throw that out there. Also, another new sweater dress. I love it. It is an extra small. If you can tell, it's tight, but it fits. And this is not something I'd wear out in public. I'd wear it here just because I like it and because y'all can see me from here up. But hopefully in the coming months, I've bought a lot of stuff so that the hope is to get my body back, and that's the trajectory I am on. We'll see what happens. So sorry for the long introduction, but let's go ahead and let's dive in. You guys know I've been doing a ton of videos on Shane Dawson and Trisha Paytas. It's just crazy to me. And I've seen the comments, and I agree with several things people are saying. But I also am seeing a lot of people, they will just react to a headline. They won't watch the video at all, or they'll react to the first couple minutes and not get all the way through. And it's interesting because number one, it's always like, where can I take accountability? And I think for me personally, maybe I need to make it more known when I'm being sarcastic, right? I can work on that, and also to give disclaimers, watch to the end of the video. I used to do that. Maybe I've forgotten a little bit. So, you know, I'm not just saying, oh, people are so dumb, right? I don't want to be one of those people just to put y'all down. Because here's the other thing. The reality is we can kind of giggle and say, yeah, people don't, they're just reactive and they don't look at things. And even though that's true, well, why? And again, I tell everybody, I've said this before, go watch The Social Experiment. This is on Netflix. It is so good. It's going to explain the dynamics of how social media works, how it's shaped our news, how we get information, and how it's driven us apart. And it goes through all the science and mechanics behind how social media works. Like, it's amazing. This is stuff I've been saying for a few years, but we finally have insiders in the social media realms coming out and talking about it, which I'm all for. I love it, right? Big tech is just very, very scary. So my point is to say many people are just going to look at a headline and react, or they're just going to see a couple minutes of the video and then just stop and react. Well, here's the thing. I could sit here and get irritated at people because, oh, you didn't watch, but at the end of the day, your guys' time and energy is valuable and precious, right? And unfortunately, I have to work within YouTube and the algorithm that it's given me to also grow my channel, get my message out there, and be seen. So I can understand if people don't want to watch the whole video. At the same time, if you see a video that's that long, it's smart to stay into the end or maybe just prepare to. But I also understand things come up, right? Like, and people don't have to watch my content. But the other thing is we are bombarded so much consistently by information overload all the time. Who has time to fact check every single thing that they see? Which is scary because we're at this point in society, we don't know what's real. And when we can't at least have a baseline for what's real, we're open to manipulation. Very, very scary. Just some things I've been thinking about, right? I thought I would brain dump. But see my many videos, watch them to the end to make sure you're getting the context of the videos. As we know, hairbyjay, one of Jeffree Star's employees or assistants of some sort, ended up having a very public feud with Trisha Paytas and very much scaring her and threatening her. And she was scared. And to this day, I want you guys to understand, I will always support Trisha for what she went through. She shouldn't have had to go through that. And everything I said, I stand by. But things are getting interesting, aren't they? Things are going to continue to get interesting. And I don't know when this video is going up, but I have a couple other videos. I would say today these videos are super important to sit down and watch to get all of the context. I want to go over a video that Trisha Paytas has deleted. It was a TikTok video. And the outright craziness and hypocrisy is amazing. So in this video, she and her new fiance Moses, which we're going to get into because apparently there's a lot of interesting stuff there I didn't know. That a lot of it pertains to things like what's going on with her situation with Dawson. I know it sounds weird. Trust me, you'll see where I'm going with all this. Also, shout out to my commenters who sent me information. Y'all can always leave information in the comments. I am in the comments. I am on it. So I appreciate you guys. So here's where we are at right now. hairbyjay did all this and Trisha started processing her feelings that Shane wasn't there for her. And that's what we first heard. And it turned into he's a good guy. He's changed, but I'm not going to be friends with him, to an all-out character assassination, which has just been awful and ridiculous in my opinion. A lot of things she has said, which we will get into. She said on recent TikTok, she is no longer going to stand by his jokes. She thinks he's the R word. She thinks he's awful. And she's no longer going to defend all of his crappy behavior because she thinks now he is everything that everybody is saying. She has said he is evil and he is the literal devil. She's gone as far as she can to say really awful stuff about him. So this video is going to focus on a TikTok. And in this TikTok, Trisha admits to some form of, and I hate even saying it, RAPE. She admits that to her fiance, and on top of that, being abusive. So, by the way, I might be being a little bit sarcastic, but watch to the end on this one because this one is one where there's a lot of concerning things, and I'm being very honest in this. Check it out. It's a short clip. It's like less than a minute. And then we're going to go into details and discuss because there's a reason she didn't want this out there. Let's take a look.
Put a finger down, toxic relationship edition. Put a finger down if they wouldn't let you hang out with the opposite sex. Put a finger down if they wouldn't let you like certain people's photos. Put a finger down if they got mad if you didn't respond in 5 minutes. Put a finger down if they ever got physical or threw something at you. Put a finger down if they ever forced you sexually. Put a finger down if you got to keep your location services on. Put a finger down if they threaten to kill themselves if you've tried to break up with them. Put a finger down if they've called you names. Put a finger down if they called you overly sensitive, but really they were just being mean. And lastly, put a finger down if they've ruined your life.
Okay, guys, got my notes ready? Let's begin. I want to go over this. So, this was talking about all the things Trisha has done that could be toxic or abusive in a relationship, and it was the finger challenge, right? So somebody says to put 10 fingers up and start taking a finger, a finger, I can't do it. A finger away if the person has done something, and then you count down. Something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with my hands. I can't do it. But here's what happens. So they're doing this 10 finger challenge, and this person on TikTok is just listing and naming things that seeing if their partner or themselves have done this and this. So Moses and Trisha were both evaluating each other, right? Moses says Trisha has done the following: not let him hang out with the opposite sex. I know how hard that one is because that one can be super controlling, but we'll get into that too because that's a tricky one with relationships. He wouldn't let her like certain photos of people. Apparently, from him says she gets mad if he doesn't respond every 5 minutes to text messages. He says that Trisha forced him sexually or pressured him. Isn't that called RAPE? That she threatened to end her own life if he dumped her. Real positive behavior. And then it says that she's called him names and says he'll call him overly sensitive when she's just trying to be mean. And he says that she ruined his life. Now, they're kind of giving each other knowing looks and she's giggling the whole time. But this is like, for anybody, this is concerning. You want to know what he said about, or what Trisha said about herself? This is what Trisha said about herself. Trisha said that basically, sometimes he'll say she's being too sensitive when he's being mean, which I find interesting coming from Trisha, because if Trisha has BPD, right? Well, many times she is exaggerating, or she is, misconstruing, or maybe making a bigger deal than what something is, having a big emotional swing to it. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't respect your partner's feelings, but if your partner has a mental illness and a history of letting their feelings go out of control, I could understand why maybe sometimes he's like, you're being too sensitive. I think there's probably a better way to put that, but I can understand that. Sorry, guys, body stuff. I'm doing my best. I'm gonna try to just get through it. So, it says not letting him hang out with the opposite sex. I remember one of the most abusive exes that I had. It's one I told you guys about with the guns and stuff. This one was really hard because very controlling with people. And if I went anywhere or went and hung out with anybody, if they weren't constantly invited and included, their feelings would be hurt. I would be kicked out of the house. Because it wasn't just that they wanted to fight with me and be mean and control me. I would have to be punished for my bad behavior. And he had a history of somebody cheating on him, which is very, very... It's not funny that it happened, but knowing how hypocritical it is, it's now funny for me in hindsight. Stuff I know y'all don't. Forgive me. That's hard. Like, even the people who have abused me, I still want to protect their privacy and their identity. Because I think somewhere in me, I still care about them. Maybe not the same feelings, but I care about them and I hope they become better people and I don't want to ruin their lives. And they didn't choose to put themselves on social media. I did, right? And I've also not been a saint in my life, so I'm trying to, even the people who've hurt me, give a certain amount of respect. I'm not saying everybody has to do that. That's just what I try to do. So, I know what that's like because that was the same thing. And with the opposite sex, of course I wasn't allowed to hang out with the opposite sex. I think one time I did with a male friend. And that night, I was kicked out. I was very punished. Also because I wore leggings, and leggings were me being sexual towards the person. Sports leggings. And I think a sports bra and a hoodie. So I remember the panic and how trapped I felt. I just felt trapped. The only way I dealt with it was I had to completely shut me as a person off and just live for this person all the time and live for their whims, their anger, their wants, everything. But the problem is because I wasn't being a real person, I would also swing into these very, I don't want to be on the planet feelings, but I couldn't really talk about them. I had to keep those to myself, but not talking about them was also wrong because per God's rule, you're supposed to be honest with your partner about everything, even if you know they're going to abuse you or punish you. So says God. I know it sounds crazy, but I had a very difficult time in life, and I just accepted that this was the best I was going to do, and maybe I deserved it. This is a lot of times what happens with trauma and with abuse. So that's concerning that she's in that, or that she went through that with him, or that he's gone through that with her, that he's felt that way. And then wouldn't like people's photos. This one I can kind of go back and forth on because I think it would depend. Like, is your boyfriend going and liking a lot of stuff that may be super risque or super sexual in a way that could be disrespectful? But I also know that there are people who won't let you give any attention to anyone without their mind going wild. And so I'm just, and by the way, I'm not saying yay or nay. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate on this. I could see that from both perspectives. Also with the opposite sex, let me also say, when you become a couple, especially if you become engaged or married, if it's serious, it's not that you can't have friends of the opposite sex. It's that has to be that's a very sensitive area. And a lot of times, simply because of the way men are wired, not all men, but many men, and they are programmed to want to have sex and be tempted more than women, or in ways that might be more predatory many times than women, not always, but you don't want it's almost like out of respect for your partner, you don't want to put yourself in a situation that could arise. But that, I don't think that means you shouldn't be able to have friends of the opposite sex or hang out. But I can also understand it does become different when you get in a relationship or get married. But I also know how oppressive and horrible that is. Like, if you trust your person, then that really shouldn't be that much of an issue. Again, different levels of respect and where people see it. So I'm just playing devil's advocate. She gets mad if he doesn't respond in 5 minutes. I think this one, again, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. That, in the one way, my first thought is that's ridiculous because he has his own life. His life doesn't just fully revolve around you, and it shouldn't. But out of respect, he should try to get back to her because a lot of women also go through getting ghosted. And I know Trisha's been through stuff with boyfriends. But I think if Trisha didn't, and she says she has attachment issues, she'll attach to somebody so quickly, right? So my theory in looking at this is because Trisha attaches to people too quickly and she puts a lot of her identity in them, which is I think is why every time she gets a new boyfriend, she's willing to completely, go into their lifestyles. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of women are like that. They can get kind of passive. Men, a lot of times, well, sometimes they will, but less often than not, they're not going to do that for women. So, yeah, so I mean, I think that's just like, and she's got abandonment issues too, but that can make the person that has to respond in 5 minutes feel really pressured and really anxious all the time, and that can create for a lot of unnecessary fights. Now, if you are having issues that your guy is wandering around or doing shady things, if there are trust issues, then it's a little more understandable, right? That's understandable there, but I don't think they've really had too many trust issues. There was one interesting that came up that we will talk about at some point, so make sure and watch that video. And then it says he forced her, or that she forced him sexually, or he felt pressured. To a lot of people, that's the RAPE word, and that shocks me. It shocks me that people seem to be okay with that. If it's a man, it's RAPE. If it's a woman, she's just being assertive. And look, I'm all for women and their rights and things being equal, and the fact that women get the crap end of the stick still, especially with healthcare. I will scream that to everyone until the day I die. But I am also going to call a spade on this one. And if he felt forced or pressured, and that's real, then Trisha has a lot of work to do to herself, and I don't know why she's not being canceled. That's not to say I believe in cancellations, because unless it's really horrible, I don't. But if they're going to put a video out there and admit to this sort of thing, I think this needs more context because it's been deleted and can't we understand why? And then Moses says she has threatened to end her life if he breaks up with her. That is a horrific thing to have to go through as a partner. And there's no dual side to this. That's horrible. And that's horrible that Trisha would play that card. It's incredibly manipulative. And this is why for somebody like her, it's almost not safe for her to have a relationship until she deals with stuff like that, because that becomes very unsafe for the person that has to deal with her. Like, I don't see any excuse there. Like, the whole thing about the pressure and feeling pressured or sexually, and I'm going to end my life if you leave me, if you take space. No. Nope. And then it says, he said that she's called him names and that she's called him overly sensitive. He says that she will just say you're overly sensitive to be mean, and then that she ruined his life. And I know she's kind of giggling and he's kind of looking at her smiling with this note, but he has this very knowing look. And here's the thing. I know the context that's going to be argued. The context is we can't tell. And apparently, I guess Trisha has kind of alluded to or come out in some way about this. I can't find it anywhere, but said this was just a joke. This whole thing was a joke. Well, if Shane had a bunch of horrible jokes that were taken out of context, and now Trisha supports that he's a horrible person for his jokes and humor, as she said the other day on her TikTok, why isn't the same treatment being put on her? We actually have somebody who's saying Trisha potentially has done the RAPE word. As far as we're aware, Shane's fans are victimless in the sense that he hasn't actually inflicted anything horrible on anybody. The only thing he's done that I saw was he gave a quick peck on the lips to a fan that was like 12 years old or underage, which was awful. But back then, a celebrity doing that to a young child like that, or a minor of that, that capacity, was not necessarily uncommon and could be celebrated. I don't agree with it. I'm not saying it's okay. But I'm saying as a society, the lines were blurred depending on the situation. You can get mad at me all you want, but it is what it is. And I'm going to have a video of evidence coming out about this to refute people saying, you can't use that excuse. It's not real. It's very real. I knew. I grew up in that time, right? And I have tons of stuff to show you guys, to show you even how some of this recently was okay. It's awful. So here's my question, and here's where I'm coming from. I'm all for giving the benefit of the doubt to most people. Maybe with the situation, maybe it is just a big joke and a big misunderstanding people didn't get, so she took it down. But then she recently put up a video Shane asked to take down, to stay down, where people have taken the clips out of context, in my opinion, I don't know if that's true or not, because we weren't there, saying that it proves Shane was a predator. I have videos on this. Please go check them out, because I think they are very important. So what does that say about Trisha? If Trisha is pressuring, or, maybe this could be a form of RAPE to her partners. I'm not even saying I think that's the case. I don't know. But isn't it crazy how context matters? And sometimes you don't know the context of a situation. And it's amazing that people, knowing she has admitted to being a liar, a pathological liar, a troll, and all of her many issues, are blindly defending a woman and saying Shane is awful for jokes. Her partner literally says she has done a form of RAPE, and everybody says it's jokes. It's just interesting how we pick and choose when we want to defend something and when we don't. At the end of the day, as I've said, I think context matters. I'm willing to give Trisha the benefit of the doubt that this might have been more joking than not. However, with that being said, many of the things he said, we've heard other people say about Trisha. We've heard this isn't like, a lot of this isn't new stuff when it comes to the people she dates. And typically the people she dates, unless they're in the social media world, she does do things that are really damaging, destructive, that can ruin lives, which we're going to get into more in today's videos. It's not even something I really want to do, but we're going to cover it. So yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think that there's anything to this? Do you think I have something there? And that's the hard thing. I can't even really give an opinion on whether, this, maybe she's right, maybe this isn't real, but why don't we give Shane the same courtesy? Why don't we give him the same courtesy? Why don't we give other people with targets on them the same courtesy? That's my big question. Why? Why do we have to demonize them, but some people it's totally okay? And I'm not even saying I'm not saying that I'm going to stick by and condone anything Trisha did joking, because I showed you the other side of those videos. And in those videos, it could have implicated Trisha just as much as Shane. It's just the narrative is to hate Shane right now. It's to knock him off his pedestal. That's way more fun. We know Trisha's a mess. So because we know she's a mess, there's really not much of a pedestal she can get on that she hasn't really even just destroyed herself, right? There isn't much room for a pedestal. But with Shane, oh my gosh, he was on such a high pedestal. How fun to knock down. But something else in society that I found is that even though we like to knock people down off their pedestals, we also like to see them get on one too, after they've been knocked down. And I think that's also part of the trope as to why, Trisha is able to rise up as she does right now, because it's fun to, see a comeback story, even though she's coming back to be a bully, in my opinion. But if we're going to go ahead and brush this off, and this is okay for Trisha, then why is Shane's old content? Why is that old content not okay? And you know what's sad? We can't use that it was a different time context. This was maybe like a year ago. This wasn't that long ago. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm curious. I get a lot of heat for these videos, but I think it's important to show all sides of a situation as much as I possibly can. And guys, if you like the video, help me out. Give me a big thumbs up. Help this channel, like the video. Also subscribe and hit that notification button so you know when I upload, and sound off in the comments. Share this content with people you think might like it. And otherwise, I'm going to get more videos ready for y'all. All right, guys, take care. Blessings, lots of love. And until the next videos, I'm wishing everybody lots of hugs, lots of kisses, and be safe. Drink your water. All right, I'm going to get some now. Bye, guys. People who do that, especially kids. I think it's cute when it's kids, they take a drink and go, I don't know. To me, it almost feels like their senses are still really sensitive to the world. So for them to have to take that drink and take the energy to take it in, and then they expel that breath, it's like they're they're really showing how they feel, because they feel a lot more extreme, because as we get older, we get a little more numb to things. That's it. There's some kid on Facebook, it's so cute, and she's with her uncle, and they'll drink juice together, and every time they drink juice, she'll put it down and go, it's a toddler. And then he has the toddler say, yeet. Do y'all know who I'm talking about? Sound off in the comments. I don't know what it is, but it's super cute, and I like it. All right, I'll see you guys later.